Welcome to the Women's Nest. Today we are going to talk once again about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Her trial is going to be starting on the 23rd, Monday, March 23rd, 2026. So I just want to bring light to that one more time to the subscribers of my channel who may not be aware of who Kelsey Fitzsimmons is and what her criminal fight is for. So I made some notes today, so I hope you guys are okay with that. Um, so, who is Kelsey? There are two battles that she is legally fighting at this time, but tonight, for this recording, we're only going to discuss the criminal one today. I'm going to try to steer away from any family matters during the recording and focus solely, or the best I can, on the criminal matter and not any of the side stuff. So, much like the Karen Reed case, if you followed that, there were so many tentacles of the story, right? So I just want to stick to the facts that have been provided via whether it was a trial preparation, any of the dockets, any affidavits, things like that. So, but to get into that, and for anyone who may not have a clear understanding of this, there are three people that I do want you to have a firm understanding of. So we have Kelsey, who is a mother of the baby, a former single homeowner. She was the only homeowner of the house in North Andover that subsequently became a crime scene. And she was also a former North Andover police officer. I say former because she obviously has not gone back to work, and I don't know if that's a great idea to go back to that particular police department. We have Justin, who is the father of the baby, the one who initiated the 209A order, which is really kind of the catalyst for all of these other things that have happened, and a firefighter who is currently on leave. Why is he currently on leave? Because there is video of him doing some things that are against his contract as a firefighter. But again, I do want to steer clear of these things because while those things do matter, we need to discuss Kelsey most importantly tonight. So the final person that does matter in today's stream for my purposes of my stream is Officer Noonan. He was Kelsey's police partner. He is the officer who is the victim of this single charge, as well as he is the officer who shot Kelsey. So if you just listen to those three people, you may be wondering, if Noonan is the one that shot Kelsey, why is she being charged with assault with a dangerous weapon? You're not alone. That's the outrage. That is the outrage. So back in February of last year, she had a baby. She did temporarily lose her gun license in March due to some concerns over pregnancy-related mental health issues, aka PPD. That's why my previous thumbnail stated that PPD is not a crime, right? She regained her gun license after filing a lawsuit against her department's police chief. I don't like. I'm repeating that. I got that from news articles, and I'm slightly hesitant to not say that that's 100% fact because I don't remember seeing it anywhere else other than like two news articles. So again, I'm really trying to just state the facts that came from pleadings, court records, things like that, audio files, right? So she did withdraw, supposedly, again. She withdrew the lawsuit the Friday before being shot. So if you feel like you want to join me in this tinfoil hat conspiracy that I don't think is, but just kind of put some of those puzzle pieces together. So supposedly she was suing the police chief that she worked for and withdrew that because whatever, maybe behind closed doors, we don't know what happened. And then just miraculously, a few days later, she was shot in the chest. My opinion, doesn't sound like that's adding up. And there's so many things throughout this that just don't add up. Um, so we are going to go back to that in a moment. So there is another creator. Her name is Emily C. She created this pretty cool timeline, and there are some things from that I just want to discuss as well. So on there was supposedly, I don't want to get too much into this, right? But supposedly there was a bachelorette party up in Maine. Things went really sour. Lots of drama, right? And I wanted to stay away from the drama. So let's just the facts, ma'am. I think that's from a show. I know it's from a show. I don't know what show it's from, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk just the facts. So on June 30th, Justin, the child's father, was granted an ex parte 209 abuse prevention order and gained full custody of their child. So a 209 order is an emergency restraining order. Ex parte means one party only. But the one thing that really sticks with me and still really kind of bothers me is that he gained custody of the child. Usually when that happens in a one party conversation with a judge or a magistrate, like within 24 hours, the other party is heard. So it's not a he said, she said, but then she got shot. So she couldn't have this conversation, this, two-party hearing. So, that same day that he was granted that order, 3 North Andover police officers entered her home to serve her. What we do know for a fact, and there's some conflicting reports. Officer Noonan did fire 2 shots at Kelsey, hitting her in the chest. She was med-flighted to Mass General Hospital, and Justin takes the baby to his home in Stowe. The first time I read this med flight report, and I couldn't find the med flight report again, but I did find something close to it. This woman is beyond lucky to be alive. Oh, shit. That's not it. Here it is. Okay, I knew I had it. Sorry. When I first read this, and I've written to her when she was incarcerated. Hold on one second. Someone's playing their phone, and I can hear it, and I don't want to interfere with the stream. So one moment, please. Okay, so Kelsey's med flight report. She's so lucky to be alive. She's so lucky to be alive. So at approximately 6:22 p.m., North Andover Fire and EMS were dispatched to the home after an officer was shot by another officer following an armed confrontation. Okay. Initial 911 calls indicated the victim had sustained a serious injury. By 6:25, North Andover fire personnel had arrived on scene and immediately began life-saving measures. So at 6:22, they were called. At 6:25, they started life-saving measures. At 6:28, Engine 1 requested Boston med flight due to the severity of the injuries. First responders reported that the patient, a 28-year-old female, had sustained a gunshot wound to the chest with an exit wound through the back. Advanced airway management was initiated, and crews were beginning to breathe for the patient on scene. So at 6:28, she wasn't breathing. She had a gunshot wound through and through. At 6:30, North Andover Fire advised that a hot load would be required for the patient transfer at the landing zone, meaning the aircraft would remain running during the patient handoff to expedite transport. By 6:33, Ladder 1 was redirected to the airport to assist with helicopter landing operations. They arrived at the airport by 6:37 to prepare for transfer. At 6:43, North Andover ambulance began transporting the patient to Lawrence Airport after a blood transfusion in the field, arriving by 6:46. So not only were they breathing for her, they had to give her a blood transfusion because she had a gunshot wound that went through her chest, out her back. The handoff to Boston Medflight was completed under critical care conditions. Boston Medflight departed the airport at 6:56 en route to Mass General Hospital. The flight arrived at MGH at approximately 7:09. So, within an hour, she had to get life-saving measures. She's been shot through her chest, gone through it, and she's facing charges. So the conditions that Kelsey got because of this: a collapsed lung, broken ribs, and liver damage. She is lucky to be alive. I don't know who was watching over that young lady, but she has a purpose, and it wasn't to die that day. Whew, sorry. So on August 7th, so this happened on June 30th, she spent many a days not being able to be arraigned, right? Good old month and some change. She was well enough to be arraigned from her hospital bed. So she was arraigned via her hospital via Zoom. She was charged with armed assault with intent to murder and 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon. So then a grand jury convened, and they saw through the bullcrap. And she was only charged, the grand jury only indicted on 1 count of assault by means of a dangerous weapon. So they saw through it. They were probably like, why is this woman who has suffered a gunshot wound being charged with attempted murder? I don't understand, because I still don't understand it myself. So then we get into the next date, which was September 8th. She was, this judge, Kathleen McCarthy Nyman, which we're going to hear this lovely judge's voice in a moment, releases Kelsey from custody with multiple conditions. And a lot of them, by lawyers of the like, I'm not one of them, state that many of her release conditions were highly unconstitutional, specifically because of the charge that she was indicted. It wasn't the ones that she didn't get indicted. What's in front of her was that 1 count of assault with a dangerous weapon. Wasn't attempted anything. It was assault. And when you're talking legalese, like, that's a big deal. I don't know. That's what I'm told. So on September 8th, she was released. On September 12th, her attorneys filed an emergency motion. One of her pretrial or her release conditions was that she was to breathe into this Scram monitoring device. Essentially, it's about the size of your phone, and on one, it's got a tube, right, that you have to breathe into, and it can take your picture, so it knows like you're the one doing it. But if anyone's ever had like bronchitis, pneumonia, you're a smoker, whatever, COPD, when you utilize these machines, you are forced to breathe strong, heavy until it tells you. So say 30 seconds. Now, if you have any of those conditions, it makes that very difficult to complete. Now, again, imagine if you had a collapsed lung, broken ribs, and liver damage. I mean, I've never had a broken rib, but I know people that have had broken ribs, and they can't breathe in or out for shit. So we're asking this woman who has been shot gunshot wound, one side out the other. Got all kinds of stuff on the inside that's like, not working right. Lucky to be alive. We're now going to ask you to breathe into something and go for however long. She couldn't do it. As her attorney said, it's torturous. So the judge didn't like that. And this is what she did. So we're going to listen to this for a moment. Be prepared. Please be prepared, because it's heartbreaking. But it needs to be heard. So there's 2 sections that I want us to hear. And actually, I don't know if it will do it. Let's see. No, it's not going to work that way. Okay, so if I do this, and I think I can share the screen, start share screen. And this is from the Jess Machado show, so full shout out to Jess. All right, let's make sure we can hear that. Hello, McFly. Oh, you son of a bitch. I probably should have figured this out beforehand, huh?
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Judge, this is an issue that causes Ms. Fitzsimmons a lot of pain. And I don't want to conflate her being able to pass the test, because she's been passing them, but she has about 4 hours of pain and dizziness afterwards. And I don't think anyone, and I know the court would share my thought, that this shouldn't be a torture device for her. This shouldn't be something that causes her pain, impairs her rib healing, et cetera, et cetera. So, we're not trying to get any sort of advantage over anything. We just want her to not be in pain for hours after these tests, and B, we just want her to not have the anxiety that if she has a difficulty doing it, that she's going to get a knock on the door and get locked up. We were told by the Elmo people that, they may have to issue a warrant. And thankfully, they didn't. And we appreciate you have Mr. January's email regarding his own observations about what happened. And, I think that says it all. That's someone that has no bias or interest, and, probation enforces court orders, and that's that. And he is telling the court this is a problem. And, this is something that should be addressed. And okay. So I see this as a simple adjustment of terms. I don't see it that way. Just so you understand where I'm coming from, I don't see it that way. Okay, can I? Okay. I don't understand what you're saying, Judge. Okay, what I'm telling you, it's not a simple adjustment. One of the reasons she was released, and one of the reasons to ensure the safety of the community, was for her to be alcohol free. If she cannot do that or will not do that, that changes everything. She's happy to be alcohol free. She doesn't wish to be alcohol free. It's just the means of determining that's the adjustment. That's what I mean when I say this is an adjustment that. Well, a scram is what was ordered. Now, was she unable, when you said that there was a knock on the door? Explain that to me. No, Judge, that we don't want to have a knock on the door. She's living in fear of there being a knock on the door. Okay. Because of these tests. It's just not between the physical and then the mental anxiety. This is a very significant issue for her. Okay.
Stop sharing. Okay. I really hope that you guys could hear that. I don't know. Hopefully. Essentially, it was him asking, can we get the scram taken off? Can we try something else? And the judge so nicely said, if she cannot or will not comply to alcohol monitoring, to ensure that the public is safe, then I don't understand. This particular charge has no alcohol involved, subject to previous things that may have had alcohol involved, but this particular instance does not. Again, we're talking about a woman who weeks prior, a month prior, 2 months prior, was suffering from postpartum depression. And if you suffered from that, you understand that it takes time to get to the next level and the next level. And then I've read their in court documents. Some of her living situations didn't allow for her to mentally feel better. It was kind of yucky. So there was some of that I'm not sure would have made anything better, honestly. So again, I'm hoping that we can hear the next section of this 2450. So the next part that we're going to hear is essentially the judge coming back. And again, I want to warn you, really warn you. The next part is going to be the judge coming back with her ruling. And this ruling was that she was going to revoke her bill and send her back to wait for trial. And there's two things that you're going to, well, three things. You're going to hear a really nasty lady. And I can say that she's a nasty lady. That's my opinion. And I'm entitled to opinions, just like everyone. And then you're going to hear Kelsey crying, which is heartbreaking. And then you're going to hear her attorney Bradle, pleading and pretty much fighting, like what you want your lawyer to do. But, just be prepared. First time I heard it, my heart sunk. So if it's the first time you're hearing it, I'm really sorry. I've tried to prepare you as best as I can. And we're going to try to start sharing a screen again. Also share tab audio. All right. Here we go.
Twice in a 3-day period to amend her conditions of release. On neither occasion has she submitted any medical evidence to support her claims. The imposition of conditions is the court's order after careful consideration of the evidence to fashion the least restrictive conditions that will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant and the safety of all other persons in the community pursuant to General Laws Chapter 276, Section 58A2B. Just days ago, the court concluded that the condition of remaining alcohol-free and submitting to SCRAM monitoring was necessary to ensure the safety of the community. After a thorough review of all of the arguments and submissions by the Commonwealth and Fitzsimmons, that conclusion remains unchanged, regardless of Fitzsimmons' claimed physical limitations. Based on an affidavit submitted by Fitzsimmons,
was shot in the chest.
The testimony of Assistant Chief Probation Officer Jeff January about his observations of Fitzsimmons' apparent pain during the SCRAM installation, and the representations of Fitzsimmons' counsel that it would be cruel and unusual punishment and torture to continue to require Fitzsimmons to comply with the condition of being monitored by SCRAM. The court concludes that Fitzsimmons cannot abide by the condition of being monitored by SCRAM. Without this condition, which ensures that she does not consume any alcohol, the court cannot assure the safety of Officer Noonan and all other persons in the community. Accordingly, the court's prior order of release is vacated, and Fitzsimmons is ordered to be held without bail pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 276, Section 58A. And a written order will follow.
May I address the court?
That's the court's order. Thank you.
All right, Jack. I ask you to stay your order pending the SJC. And there are other alternatives Your Honor can accomplish.
Still tough to hear. still really tough to hear. Whew. So she went back, and she spent about 60 something days in Chicopee, still healing from her wounds. Oh, forgot about this one. Somewhere in between there. Actually, I think it was the September 8th hearing. It was the first time that she got released. She had yet another surgery scheduled for the next day. And they asked if the ankle monitor could be put on after. Like, she would literally go get the surgery and then go to the probation to get the ankle monitor on. And the judge said, no, she is not going to leave this courthouse without an ankle monitor. So she canceled her surgery. And then a few days later, the judge said, oh, you know what? We're actually going to put you back in jail so you can await the trial, or until you can, get your ribs fixed. Because, that's just a quick little thing. Doesn't take time. Whew. So she went back, or she went to Chicopee, and she sat there, and she had to heal physically, heal mentally, and heal emotionally, and prepare for trial. That's why I'm talking about this. Okay. So a couple of things happened in September. The kid's father filed motions to attach her real estate property for child support payments, for the next 18 years. Because, apparently I think they wanted her to not live. That's my guess. She said, I'm going to live. And she is. So proud of you, Kels. She did end up having to sell her home to pay for her legal fees, right? So on December 23rd, they had another pretrial hearing. Apparently she had healed well enough to blow into the scram device. I don't know, I don't know how you do it, girl, but you did it. In 6 months, you had the capacity to do it, or you just said, I can't do this anymore, right? I don't know what it was, but she got released, and she's doing the scram still to this day. Then just last week, which I was at the court for, and man, that was like, you could hear the judge was getting ready to do this, and I was holding my breath, and he eased a bunch of conditions for her. So she was able to move out of her mom and mom's house. She was able to find her own place. She was able to drive. There were a lot. And going back to the September 11th hearing, and somewhere in between, the female judge, she also said, we don't believe it was in written orders, but she said, and no contact with the child. And quite frankly, that's a criminal judge, not a family and probate judge. That's I know how to print stuff, but I'm not going to build a house, because I don't know how to build a house. I have a concept of it, very similar. But yeah, so probate court is also moving forward, and I'm very happy for that. The following day, Justin was placed on leave by the North Andover Fire Department pending investigation. So that's the timeline of what has criminally. That's kind of where she's been. Again, like I said, there's so many other things that have happened. Some of her affidavits are heartbreaking. She had one where Mother's Day, the kid's father, the baby, because he's still a baby. The baby's father was so drunk on Mother's Day, and all this stuff. And if you're suffering from postpartum depression, and then you're having to deal with that stuff. Like, whew, yeah. So what really got me intrigued in this was, and I touched on it in the very beginning, is that something in my back hurts. Shocking, my back hurts. Was that she was charged when a different officer shot her. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I mean, again, she didn't get indicted on the attempted charge, but the assault charge, like, so Kelsey claims, and I can't wait for her to tell her her version of the story, right? She claims that she wanted to hurt herself, and with what transpired the week before, to like literally right in that moment, like, you're taking my baby away, and like my future marriage is gone, and like, what's going on here, right? And I'm set to go back to work, and now I can't go back to work. Like, what is going on? And I've been there, and I've wanted to do that, and that's what she claims that she was doing. And the claim is that she was pointing it at the officer, who then shot her through her chest, center mass. Like, a center mass shot is meant exactly to not have people around. And why was that? Why was that? Was tinfoil hat? Were there marching orders? I don't know. I'm not going to get into that on here. I will certainly get into that in my personal life if you so choose to. But one of the biggest pieces that will be contentious during the trial, and I'm interested to hear about it, is during one of the initial reports from Officer Noonan. He said that she leaped from behind a door. And guess what? There's no doors in her bedroom. So instantly, someone's not telling the truth. Either the door's not telling the truth, or he's not. And I'm going to say the door that's not there can't tell you anything. So there's that. Yeah, it's not great, man. So she needs our help. She needs our help. Oh shit. What did I just do? I don't know what I just did. I don't know what I just did. Let me try that again. Yeah, I don't know what I did. You would think I don't know how to operate a computer. So, help Kelsey heal. I am going to try to do this. All right, we got a new screen to share. Give, send, go. Okay, share. Here we go. So this is what we're trying for. I'm going to read this to you guys, and if you can, please donate, because she needs the help. Kelsey is a caring, devoted mother who has always put her baby boy first. Kelsey's baby boy is now a year old and is her pride and joy. Kelsey has unfortunately been battling with postpartum depression and is doing everything she can to heal and recover. In the process of healing, Kelsey was met with a mother's worst nightmare: having her baby taken away from her while being served a restraining order full of false narratives and self-serving allegations. During this already extremely tragic incident, where she needed compassion and help, she was met with deadly force and gunfire to her chest. She has undergone multiple surgeries due to her injuries. She has a long road of recovery as she sits in the hospital today. So obviously this is a little late. She now needs extensive support to heal physically and emotionally. So like, this is the thing. If you literally just type in Google, help Kelsey heal, it's give, send, go. as of the time of this recording. Transparency, it's Saturday night at 8:10. We're at $119,750. Share it, pray, I don't care. Do something, man. Like this is amazing, right? The other Mary B, she's on YouTube a bit. Kelsey will be freeing you reunited with her sweet baby. Never give up, Kelsey. You have a million prayers and lots of love surrounding you. 6 hours ago, you have an army standing beside you, Kelsey. Stay strong and continue to fight. The truth needs to continue to be shared. I'm a mom that went through a similar court battle. Hopefully the way the court works in these cases gets reviewed and changed after this, so no mom and child never get separated again over lies. That's a fact. Absolute fact. Something needs to change, right? She was shot, so she couldn't go to give her part of the story. And then it was all about let's lie. And didn't work out too well. Well, it's not going to. Right now, she's slowly winning. She's slowly winning this battle. So trial starts Monday. I'm hoping by the end of the week it will be done. And man, not guilty, because that girl needs to tell her side of the story. And we're going to recap it. She ain't going to come on my show, right? I got 42 of you. She needs to go on Mazza Media, Melanie Little, all the people, I'm just a girl from the South Shore trying to keep women positive and help keep me positive, truly, so I hope if you didn't know much about it, it's enlightened you a little bit, and you are all willing to help Kelsey heal. All right, take care, talk soon.